We were just trying to help out a lovely older fella, one of my dad's friends. He had a crack in his wall that was leaking water into his living room, so we were trying to fix the wall up for him and get it all ready for Christmas. What we didn't realise was at the same time we were really upsetting an angry neighbour.
Right,
So let's get into the video and I'll show you what happened. The water's getting in above this bay window, and this crack here, they've had it patched a few times, but it just keeps opening back up again. You see it? You can hear it. The water's just getting in behind it and causing problems. Look. It's all just loose, the whole thing's. That is just because water's getting in behind it. Let's get it all off. This is a job for my dad's mate, a lovely older fella called Andy. I promised to help him out before Christmas because he had a big crack on his render, which was letting water in, which was causing damage inside his house. Coming off okay. Do you want me to get do you want me to get a board to put in front of these windows, or are you going to be able to control which way it falls? All these wires we've got to keep as well, look at that.
I know, pain in the ass that.
I think we'll bury them.
Yeah, I'd say
so. I don't want them clipped to the surface. We are on a very tight schedule to get this done. The rendering needs doing, everything needs cleaning up, and the scaffold needs to come down. All this needs to be done so the inside can be nice and dry, ready for the Christmas period. What we didn't realise was that directly to the left of us was the neighbour's bedroom, and it just so happens that this fella's working nights. How long can you handle it, mate? If we take it off, how long can you bear it? It might be on for 2 weeks. I'm laughing and joking with the neighbour over the road, not realising the neighbour next door is getting very upset. Sorted. Hey.
Look at me, it's not actually that much.
You know, I know, yeah, well, what I'm saying is we'll take that off and we'll just leave that on the sill there. If you pass me up the sweeping brush, I'll start cleaning all these off. Right, there's still a few bits underneath these sills that need to come off, mate.
Look, mate, they're all loose. It's the silicone holding it on.
Okay. We need to get, yeah, we need to get the silicone off as well then. Okie dokie. I'll just get it in the middle here. You get one side, that side there. I've got it, ready? Okay. It was starting to spit, so I put the extension lead under a bucket to keep it dry. But there's still a bit of tidying up to do. Bits like this, getting all this silicone off. Look under here. All this has got to come off. Another thing, the customer doesn't want any cables on show, so we're going to clip these tight to the wall so that we can render over them. Some people get all excited about that because they don't like the idea of the cables being buried behind the render. Think about where all the cables are in your house, like all buried behind the plaster. Same situation. We've got two different backgrounds here, bricks and blocks. They will give a different background suction, so we need to apply something so that we get a nice even suction. The reason being, when we put the top coat on, because it's a coloured render, different suctions will make it dry different colours in different areas. Another thing, we've got this big unsightly crack here. We can't leave that and just render over it. A lot of guys would love to and just go, oh, it's got mesh, it'll stop it, but if you look, this crack goes right through to the inside. So we need to literally do something to strengthen that wall there. If we just mesh up to that and render it, if the window cleaner ever puts his ladders on this and it pushes down, it can cause the render to pop. So I'm going to go around and fill underneath these windowsills with some foam as well to make them nice and solid. This is a great little bit of kit. It just goes straight into an angle grinder. Using power tools that have a cord is an absolute nightmare. The cord always gets in the way. I have got a battery angle grinder somewhere. I've borrowed it out to someone, and for the life of me, I can't remember who's got it. Right, that's it now. That was a nightmare. We've got all these channels cut in. We just need to clean these out now. We're going to fill these with grout and a metal bar. Now the grout, we want it to get a good key, so we don't want any dust in these, so nice little trick you can use. Now, as an extra little surprise, Andy has since told us that he's thinking of changing all the windows. This changes the game completely. Now I've got to render the wall in such a way that the windows can be taken out afterwards without causing any damage. At this point, the rain's starting to get worse, but we're on a tight schedule. We've got to get this job done. And fortunately, what we're doing at this point isn't affected by the rain. Okay, these are the metal bars that sit in the mortar beds that we've raked out, and they get set in with a grout, and this is what ties the wall back together again. So before you put the heli bars in, this needs to be completely dust free and damped down a little bit. I'm going to mix up some grout now and put the grout in first and push the bars into it. This grout is very high polymer, which basically means it sticks to absolutely everything. If you spill any, it's really important you clean it up fast. This is basically like super glue mixed with cement. All this stitching is set now, so that's good to go. I'm going to cut these little bits of excess foam off. Like so. Now it's time for us to apply the primer. This is going to even out the suction between the two different backgrounds. As soon as this is done, I'm going to bead up, and I always use an angle grinder to cut the beads, but using a grinder with a cord is a nightmare. I have to buy another one of these because you lend stuff out and then you forget who you lend it to, and then they don't bring it back, so you have to get another one. Anyway, new grinder. Okay, so what happens is when you're looking down and you're trying to cut, you can't see because this thing's in the way. So I know all the health and safety guys hate me doing this, but this guard's got to go. The little key thing that tightens them up, you always lose it, okay? Make sure there's no battery in. Once you've tightened it up, you can actually just hold the disc and tighten it like that. You can get it just as tight by turning that. Now, people always panic about this. This is a tile cutting disc. The worst thing that this is going to do is give you a real nasty friction burn, but notice it's got no teeth in it. I mean, if you held it on your skin, it would cut you, obviously, but they're fairly safe. You know, people push tiles through them that are without any guard on. They're not as dangerous as a wood cutting bit. Now, the other thing is, as well, people say with no guard on, what if it shatters? This is designed for cutting through porcelain and marble. We're cutting through a plastic bead, so it's not going to shatter, you know? It's sort of like saying that when you use your knife and fork, when you're eating on your porcelain plate, you should put safety goggles on in case the friction off your knife and fork causes the plate to explode. You know, it's not going to happen. So plastic will not make a porcelain disc explode. We're in business. Okay, little disclaimer. I probably take lots of unnecessary risks, but I'm big enough and stupid enough to accept that it would be my fault if I was to hurt myself. I don't advise you take any unnecessary risks, so when using power tools, please wear a hard hat, safety goggles, gloves, steel-toe cap boots, make sure you've got your high-vis on, all the correct PPE so that you don't get hurt and you don't blame me for it. He's more than likely going to change these windows in the next year or two. So I'm going to bead up to them, up to the frame, but I'm not going to bead across the front of the frame because I don't want to trap his windows in and I'm going to have to damage the render to get it out. Ideally, it would have been better if he had these done first. I mean, in an ideal world, that's going to fit under there, like so. And that way, there's going to be a tiny little gap left all the way around it that they'll just be able to put a little bead of silicone across. And when they want to take the windows out, they can just cut through the silicone, take all the screws out inside. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a job for them, but they'll be able to get this out without damaging the render. Okay, and that's it. All the beading's done. Now we've got to let this pink grip set. Once all that's gone off, get the base coat and the mesh on tomorrow. I'm using a product called Monocal GF. Now that's made by a company called VPI. I've used VPI products quite a number of times, but they're not as readily available near me as some other products. So it's quite interesting. I'm going to tell you a little story a bit later on about how I come to be using VPI on this job. Try and load this up as much as possible so it's less trips back and forth. Go on, Sam. Go on, mate. Help us hold it in place.
I'm going to put that past the wire there.
Okay. Down a little bit. Pull down.
How's that?
There, yeah. Okay. One thing you can say about VPI's base coat, very sticky indeed. Very light, nice to work with, but you know when it's on, it ain't coming off. What? What's up, mate? What's up, mate? Sorry, yeah, I'm wait there a second. What's up, pal?
How much long is this going to go on for, lads? I've been working night shifts. I've been trying to get my head down. And all I can hear is banging all day. How much long is the job going to take now?
Just give me 1 sec, mate. I'll come down and see you. 1 sec. Do you live next door?
Yeah. What you do is complain. I don't fucking do anything nowadays. I'll do it flipping is. Oh, he shook his hand. Probably
He's alright, his sound, it's more his missus than him. They reckon that they can hear that. Every time that does that goes through their wall apparently. You know what they're like, he's alright anyway, his sound. Are you filming all that? Yeah. You know, shit, I said to you, don't film it. Oh, well, we'll leave it in. You didn't film his face, did you?
No.
Oh. Right. The joys of working for the public. You have to deal with the neighbours as well.
Anyone actually ever kicked off on it? To be fair, most quite a few people do now and then. Some people just like to complain, don't they? Doesn't matter what you do, it's not what It'd be alright. It'd be fine.
You're going to put the mesh in, yeah?
There's missing some chocolates or something.
I wouldn't do that.
You've done it before, actually.
Crate probably make life easier, but... As much as you can try and accommodate everybody, not parking in people's parking spaces, making sure no dirt lands in people's gardens, sometimes you just can't help inconvenience people. There's nothing we can do about the noise when doing the job. We try and keep it within reasonable hours, not too early in the morning, not too late at night. But if somebody's working nights and we aren't to know, we can't help but inconvenience them. What we're going to do is we're going to mesh over where this crack is, and then just to help, we're going to put another piece of mesh right over the top of it again. So just where that crack is, we have 2 layers of reinforcing mesh. Now, when someone's lost their temper and they confront you, it's very easy to lose your temper and the whole thing can escalate. But at the end of the day, you've got to remember, when I leave this job, this customer has still got to live next door to that neighbour, and I've got a reputation to uphold. So a kind word in an angry situation always diffuses things. Just be polite, courteous and kind, and you'll usually win people over, like in this situation. When you just apologise to someone, tell them you're really sorry and it wasn't your intention to upset them and you hadn't done it on purpose, and you ask them, are you okay? You know, what's bothering you really, you know? It's funny what people will tell you, and you find out that it wasn't necessarily us. There's another root cause. We were just the final straw.
We're rolling. Okay, we get some water set up. Today, we're going to put the top coat on of an evening. We're going to put some retardant in this, so it's lovely to scrape back tomorrow morning. Because it's winter time, we haven't got the daylight hours to do a same day scrape. I much prefer doing a same day scrape, but because it's winter time and the light situation, we're going to do a next day scrape.
This is VPI's top coat Monocal GM. Now, all this come about, the reason I'm using VPI is because of a bloke called Stuart Ryan.
Even with the whisk, it's hard work. He's got to pump it up and down because it'll be wet at the bottom and firm at the top. So even though it's whisking, he's still got to work quite hard. Haven't you, Reece? He'll have muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger by the end of this.
Now, I've known Stu Ryan for quite a few years and he's a top bloke. Stu works at a firm called Galaxy Insulation and Dry Lining, and they're a massive company. In fact, I'll link them below in the description of this video. Now, Stu reached out to me recently. He said, Kirk, I love what you do on YouTube. I love seeing when you help people out and stuff. He said, if there ever comes a chance where you're helping somebody out and you need some free materials, let me know. So I reached out to Stu and said we were doing this job, and he was more than happy to send a load of stuff over. And that's how we ended up using VPI's range again.
Okay, some brands of Monocoups that I've used in the past feel like the stuff is like dead, like just mud. This stuff, this VPI, genuinely feels like sticky. Like it's like sticking to the wall, it's sticking to my tools, it's really sticky, which is quite good because, you know, look, we literally dropped none. Usually you're putting it on and it's curling back off, whereas this really is sticky. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys don't know this, but Reece is my nephew. He's my wife's brother's son, and Sam is my brother-in-law. He's my wife's brother. Don't worry, my missus doesn't look anything like Sam. Now, you know what they say, don't you? You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And that's basically how I've ended up with these pair with me, you know.
I'm only joking, I love the bones of them, really. Well, maybe not Reece so much, but you know. Now, to get it up to the desired thickness, I'm doing it in 2 passes. So what you can see there is the first pass, like that, and then we're putting a second pass over the top of it. In between passes, I'm leaving it for about 5 minutes to firm up. Now, to be fair, this stuff has got quite a lot of body to it. It doesn't slump at all, but I'm still used to just working in my own system, so I've just continued that, doing it in 2 passes as I usually would. And as you can see, it flattens out really nicely. Now, the reason I work in bands is because the stuff is setting and it's going to get a skin on the surface of it.
See if you can get that tub down. Oh, come on, get that. See if you can get it down. Fill that one up. That second pass, Sam. I haven't done it yet. Just get it on here.
You want to leave as little time as possible between each band. If you put big areas on, it takes up a lot of time, and once a skin starts to form and you join the next big area into it, you'll end up with a ghost line. That's where the skin doesn't fully get scraped off. So by working in little sections at a time as quickly as possible, you stop that from happening.
That's it for today. It's now 5:15, so we'll be back tomorrow first thing in the morning to scrape this back.
And it's really worth your time cleaning. Any little footprint will stain, and it'll be staying forever.
We're on our way back now at 7:30. You want it just soft. You almost want the stuff where you can poke it and make an impression in the render with your fingernail, but not with your fingertip. Right, this now. Look, I can just, if I really push hard, I can make a little impression with my thumb. See? But my fingernail, yeah, nice and easy. That's perfect. That's just how we want it. Okay, we've got the house alarm in there. A little wire. I'm trying not to rip it straight out with this. What you do is you're using these beads to rule off, so you're just scraping back till you hit the bead. Now this scraping, do you know there's people that use like what they call it, like ASMR, and they do like colouring in and things like that because it's therapeutic. This is similar but hard work at the same time. See this? See this here, right? Every now and then you'll get a little air pocket. So all you do is you want to catch the scrapings at the right time. When you're scraping this off, I mean, this isn't ideal. You don't want little air pockets, but if you do get one, take your scrapings. You want it to be able to clump together like a snowball. If it doesn't stay like a snowball, this won't work. So take your scrapings, get a little bit, and just push it into that hole like that, as hard as you can. Gone, like that. That's how you get rid of them. Now if they aren't clumping together, unfortunately that won't work, which is a bit of a nightmare. There's not really anything you can do then, but it's all about trying to catch this just at the right time. You want to be able to not really push your finger into it, but still be able to leave impressions with your fingernail, you know. I can still do it with my fingernail, so that's just the right time to catch it. What I'm going to do is I use this short bar this way, and then this longer bar I'll usually go in this direction. When you get these, you can with an angle grinder just cut them down to any size that you want. I mean, it just so happens that these sizes just seem to fit perfect. Right, that's it. It's all done, all scraped down, customers made up, cleaned up, washed down. My mate's coming, Griff, the window fitter. He's going to put some silicone around them windows for me. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
Just before editing this video, I nipped back and took a few photographs. The customer, Andy, told me he's going to have a canopy installed above his front door. Now, I want to say 5 thank yous. Firstly, I want to thank Stuart Ryan for supplying all the materials. I want to thank VPI for having a fantastic product. I also want to thank Andy, the customer, for letting us film. I want to thank the Neighbour for being understanding. And lastly, I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a great Christmas.